Welcome to Curious Goldfish, a podcast community where music and curiosity come together through interesting conversations with the music makers of our world. I'm your host, Jason English. You can find Curious Goldfish in all the major podcast and social media platforms, and of course, we have all of our content on our website, curiousgoldfish.com.
What's up, buddy?
Thanks for your time, man.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
So Noah Silver here in Nashville, Tennessee, from Arizona, sort of originally. Is that fair?
Yeah, grew up in Arizona.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
Arizona. So, so great thing about Nashville. I'm here for this songwriter retreat, talking to different people, and went back to the hotel, needed a bite to eat, ended up at a place. You're on stage, doing what a lot of people do, which is a lot of covers.
Oh yeah.
Covers and things like that. And then I was like, hey, I want to see if this guy has any originals. And so I think I tipped you. I'm like, hey, come, can you play an original?
Mm-hmm.
So it was great. So I'm glad I ran across you. I guess that was what, a Tuesday night, I think? Is that a typical Tuesday for you here in Nashville?
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty typical Tuesday night. I was playing over at the Row, 10 p.m. to midnight, and that place, it's always different every night, but it's more or less the same thing. I like taking those later slots because that place gets a lot more crowded earlier in the night, but at that time it's a lot more people who are just eating some dinner, trying to get in and out really quick. But I like that later slot because anyone who's coming in is there specifically to drink and listen to music. And so you get a lot more attention, a lot more engagement, and it's a good time, right. Good vibe.
Good. So you're a full-time musician now.
Yes, sir.
When did you make that decision to just go and do that?
Well, I've been in Nashville for about 5 years now. Okay. I went to Vanderbilt for college. Oh, wow. All right. Yeah. Oh yeah, anchor down. But
so you're not that smart, obviously.
Oh no, just rocks in my brain, absolutely. But so I was here for Vandy. I graduated with a degree in economics.
Oh wow.
Yeah, super musical. So but yeah, I graduated in 23, so just a little over a year ago now. And I stayed in Nashville post-grad and was just, trying to do as much music as I could. I was waiting tables for a while, and then maybe a few months ago, I quit my job at the restaurant and just decided, I'm here to do music. I might as well do that and try to make that a living off of that and spend as much time and energy and effort as I possibly can doing that. So I quit my job and just started gigging. Now I play on Broadway and play at Midtown, Demumbrian, all those places.
All right. Any shade from the parents around the college degree, and then doing this, or is it good support?
I am very, very fortunate to have a ton of support from them. Yes, I'm the luckiest person in the world for that. They support my dreams fully and completely believe in me. And honestly, if anything, I'll sometimes have my moments, as all of us musicians do, where I'll have a tough night or a tough gig or whatever, and I'll go home and I'll be like, man, why am I doing all my friends from college are out there making tons of money, and I'm just chipping away at this dream, and I'll talk to my parents about it, and they'll be like, dude, you're 23, chill out, you're gonna be just fine, keep going, you're good. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, because an economics degree from any university, let alone Vanderbilt, I mean, that's worth a lot, just in terms of opportunity. But the fact that you're doing this, that's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
How many nights? Because everything's different, but I'm always curious. How many nights a week? How many times per day are you playing?
It kind of varies. I usually try to. Well, I honestly play as much as I can. Yeah. So a typical day for me, I try to do 3 things in a day. Okay. It could be 3 writes. It could be 2 writes and a gig. It could be, God help me, 3 gigs. But I always try to do some combination of those in like 2 or 3 a day. So I could be playing, 5 times a week. I could be playing a dozen times a week. Yeah, it all just kind of varies. Basically, wherever I get opportunities and whenever I just have the opportunity to share my gift with people, take it.
Yeah, all right. I mean, the path, like I've talked to a fair number of artists where the whole idea on the covers, like you kind of have to do it because that's kind of what people want to hear.
Yeah.
How exhausting is that? And maybe every now and then someone like me will say, hey, do you have an original? But is that mind numbing, or is it just kind of like that's the price you have to pay to get the exposure?
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of each. I definitely, I get a little bit sick of singing the same songs over and over again. But anytime, you witnessed it firsthand. Anytime that I'm gigging, I always try to, maintain maximum audience engagement and really encourage people to request songs. So usually I'll have people requesting songs that I've, never heard or heard a couple times but never played, and I'm just learning songs on the spot. And so I like to do that, obviously, because then I get audience engagement and then more tips, hopefully, and I actually can pay my bills that week. But also just because it keeps things interesting and it keeps things fresh. And I definitely know a lot of people who have been full-time Broadway musicians, full-time gigging musicians for years and years and years. And it's sad. You see a lot of people getting really burnt out on the thing that they love most. And so I'm trying not to do that as best as I can, because I'm trying to use the gigging as a stepping stone, as a means of, while I'm still kind of in development of my artist project and building that audience and, writing my songs and doing all of that stuff. I'm performing as much as I can and just becoming the best possible performer. Because if you're playing Broadway, there's no better way to learn how to engage an audience, how to, just be a performer and get up there with musicians that you've never met in your entire life and just play 4 hours with them. Okay. It's a skill that you can't really learn to that extent anywhere else.
Well, I was going to ask you, obviously you went to school here, so you were kind of here. Again, is Nashville sort of a necessity, do you think? Or do you think you could be doing this in, whatever, Kansas City or Sacramento or Boston? Is there that much of a difference of doing what you're doing here in Nashville than other places?
That's a great question. It's the thing is, you as a gigging musician, Nashville is where you will make the least amount of money every time, because there's so many musicians here, and all of the places know that everyone is just dying to play, and
they've got you by the I guess.
Yeah, exactly, because there's so many gigs that it's like, oh well, we can't give you a base pay for this, but you get the exposure, and you get your name out there, and it's like, that's great, but I have rent, But that's the thing is, like, for the gigs you make a lot less money, but you got to be in Nashville for the connections, for the music scene, for the writing. There's just so many incredible people here and so many people who are so important to meet. And yeah, I could definitely make a living, gigging 5 days a week in another city. Sure. But I don't think, in fact, I'm fairly certain that I wouldn't have the same amount of progress in terms of my writing, my networking, my, I feel like there's a real community here. And the more time I spend here, the more I really feel I'm inside of that community, and that I'm very supported by all the people around me. Okay. Which you don't get that anywhere else. Even places with bigger music scenes. I've never spent a ton of time in LA. Right. But, I've heard that it's very cutthroat, competitive, whatever. Nashville, obviously there's still competition. Yeah. There's, not everyone can have the number one song that week. But it's much more of a community. It's a lot less, cutthroat competition and more of people just genuinely being friends and caring for each other, and everyone just kind of helping each other up together. Okay. Well, that's good to hear. All right, so let's turn to songwriting. Please. You just have a new EP out called Kaleidoscope. Yes. Less than a month old. Exactly. What's it like to be a new father? Oh, my newborn. She keeps me up all night. It's very exciting. This thing has been in the works for a really long time. And because basically I was, all throughout college, I was still writing and, practicing. And I took some songwriting classes in school and all of that stuff. but I was never really, pouring myself into it full time. So Kaleidoscope is kind of the culmination of everything prior to me graduating.
Okay.
And so the first song that I put out, Crazy One, I wrote when I started writing it when I was 16 or 17 or something like that. It was just me like messing around in my bedroom and playing. That song actually has a really funny story. I was just messing around in my bedroom playing this thing, and I didn't really think anything of it. It was just kind of like this stupid joke song. And I sat down and played it for some friends one night after a couple drinks when we were in college. And they were like, "Oh, yeah, this is your best song." And I was like, "No, guys, like this song was a joke. Like the hook is literally, I know that she's crazy, but I can't get enough, so I guess that the crazy one is me." Like that's not a serious.
Yeah.
They're like, "No, that's hilarious and fantastic and relatable." And it's like, so then they would come to my gigs and request it every time. So eventually I was like, "All right, fine, I'll rewrite it so that I actually like it too." And then we ended up putting it out. But I mean, was what, like a 6-year process from when I first started writing that song till now.
Yeah.
So this EP has been in the works for a very long time, and we put a lot of time and effort into it, and it just feels good to have it all out there. And
okay.
Well,
good. Congrats on that. So the other night, I think I asked for the original. You ended up playing, was it a murder ballad or something?
Murder ballad,
yeah. And you co-wrote that with somebody.
Yes,
right?
with Kent Blasey and Anna McElroy.
Okay, so tell us about them, because I think they've got some pedigree, right?
They're really cool. So Kent Blasey he's a Hall of Famer, songwriting Hall of Famer.
Nice.
He wrote "If Tomorrow Never Comes" by Garth Brooks, "Ain't Going Out of the Sun Comes Up." Okay. He also wrote "Getting You Home" by Chris Young. Okay. So he's a legend.
All right.
He's incredible. And I actually, the first time that I ever met him, I was on a walk with my girlfriend at the time, and at Radnor Lake, which is a beautiful area in Nashville. And he comes walking his dog past us. I didn't know who he was, but my girlfriend stops to go pet the dog. And while she's doing that, I'm like chatting with him. He has a Groom Guitar shirt on, which is like a classic guitar shop in Nashville. I'm like, "Oh, like, are you a guitar guy?" And he's like, "Yeah, you could say that, I suppose." And I'm like, "That's awesome. Like, what do you play? Like, what's your?" He's like, "Oh, like a little bit of everything." I'm like, "Okay, well, what's your main guitar?" He's like, "I don't even know. Like, I have way too many guitars now. I can't even pick one." I'm like, "Way too many." Okay, so clearly this guy can afford to have way too many guitars. He's probably like some big name in Nashville. So I keep talking to him. I get his name, and then I looked him up afterwards, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
That's
so
cool.
He's a legend.
All right.
And then a few months after that, I ended up randomly opening up at the Bluebird at a corporate gig for him and Marv Green and Matresa Berg, who are two other songwriting legends. Marv wrote "Amazed" by Lone Star, and Matresa wrote "Strawberry Wine," which is just bonkers. So that was an incredible night. And then after I finished my little opener set, Kent came up to me and he was like, "Hey man, like, you sounded pretty good. Just by coincidence, the Bluebird people, while I was here, just asked me to come back in December and bring in some young up-and-coming singer-songwriters." I thought to myself, who do I know that's a young up-and-coming singer-songwriter? So would you be interested? And I was like, yeah. I think I was like, "Oh yeah, let me check my schedule really quick."
Did you play it cool?
Yeah.
All right.
I played it like a little bit cool.
Yeah.
As cool as I could. But obviously, yeah, that was a dream come true.
I mean, Bluebird, dude.
Bluebird Cafe. It was
Jeez.
unreal.
Yeah.
And it's such a magical place. When you're sitting in the middle of the room and the lights come down and it's just like the twinkling string lights and everyone goes dead silent and you're just like, okay,
I mean, how old were you? How old were you there?
I was 22.
Okay.
So this wasn't too long ago.
All right. Well,
But
congrats on that. So what's the name of the murder ballad?
It's called "The Only Ones Who Know."
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, after that Bluebird night, one of the girls that was in that round with us was named Anna McElroy, and so all of us were talking afterwards, and we were like, "Oh, we should all write together sometime."
Okay.
And so the first time that I ever wrote with, we did a write with me, her, and Kent, and we went over to his place. It was 10 o'clock in the morning, pretty early. He lived kind of far away too, so I got up real early. I was pretty nervous because I had never written with a Hall of Famer before, but we all sit down in his kitchen and he's like, "All right, Noah, like what do you feel like writing about today?" And I was like, "Well, I came up with this little guitar lick like a few days ago, and I was kind of drafting this idea for a story. I think I want to turn it into a murder ballad. He was like, a murder ballad? I was like, yeah. He's like, so let me get this straight for a second. It's 10 o'clock a.m. in the morning, and you're in the mood to kill someone right now. And I was like, yeah.
All right,
yes,
that works.
Yes, I am. So, yeah, and it's a badass song.
Yeah.
It's not out yet, but hopefully soon.
All right. All right.
Yeah, but
Well,
it's
that's cool.
definitely one of the songs that I'm looking to record next time I'm in the studio.
Well, back to your earlier point, walking the dog and the Bluebird Cafe, those aren't things, or walking the dog and then running into a Hall of Fame, songwriter, and then the Bluebird, like those aren't things that are anywhere else really likely other than Nashville.
No,
right?
absolutely not.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's the crazy thing about Nashville is I feel like as I, kind of reflect over my past year or so doing music full time, and I'm thinking about all of the best opportunities that I've gotten and the biggest steps that I've made in my career, it's always super random. It never really makes sense. It's always like this random connection introduced me to this random connection, and it just so happened that it worked out with the timing. And so I think that just speaks volumes to the community of Nashville and the infinite opportunities that are in this city.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a cool place to be.
That's really neat. All right. So the EP's out. I guess what's your plan for the rest of the year, or maybe even next year? Looking ahead, what can people look forward to?
Actually, this is unannounced, so you're getting it.
Are we
you're getting the
exclusive?
information first. Exclusive information. Kaleidoscope Deluxe Edition.
All right.
Will be coming out on Friday the 13th of September.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about that one. It takes two of my favorite songs, and we redid them as piano ballads.
Oh,
with
like
this
that.
incredible piano player whose name I'm not going to be able to remember at the moment, and I feel terrible about that. But I'll send it to you after.
Yeah.
But
That's all right.
yeah, I'm really excited about that. One of them is my biggest song currently on Spotify, but also the song that's most special to me. It's called Taste Me Back. And it's about my grandpa and his kind of musical influence on me and this old sports car that he used to drive.
Interesting.
But like one of my earliest memories of my entire life is me sitting at his grand piano and him teaching me how to play like chopsticks and all the like little songs. And so we redid that one as a piano ballad, which feels very fitting and very full circle. And I played it for my family and they all cried.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
What was his name?
Richard, but I called him Papa.
All right. That's awesome. My dad's name is Richard, and we call the grandkids call him Papa. So that's
no
good.
way.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
Cool.
All right, Richard. Well done there. That's cool. All right. So Deluxe Edition, September 13th for Kaleidoscope. Awesome.
Yes.
All right. So last question. I'm more than double your age, and I ask this with everybody that joins the show because I'm really big on curiosity, but with literally the rest of your life ahead of you because you're so damn young, and good for you on that. What are you most curious about?
Most curious about just in general in my life.
Yeah.
Aliens.
There's a lot of alien talk.
The ocean.
Yeah.
No, but what am I most curious about is honestly, I think that music and the music scene and the music world is in a really cool place right now. I think there's a ton of accessibility to anyone just being able to make whatever they want with technology, with how user-friendly production technology and software has become. And there's such a wide variety of genres, and there's all these cool things happening, like the Zach Bryan and Noah Kahn movement, which is a push toward authenticity in music, which has been really refreshing, honestly. And everyone just wants super raw, super authentic, super meaningful, which I love that stuff, so that works for me. Yeah. But I'm just curious to see, where everything goes, and the path that we're on is ever changing and very interesting. And yeah, I'm excited to see what my place is going to be in it. I want to make, some crazy concept albums like the next Dark Side of the Moon or, Abbey Road or whatever.
Okay. I love that. All right.
Yeah.
Well, good, man. Well, I'm so glad I ran into you the other night, and you got a great sound.
Thank you.
I would love if you could play some music for us.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. But
sure.
yeah, Noah, good luck with everything. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Right,
Appreciate you, brother.
All right, man.
Yes,
Thanks.
sir.
All right, we'll see you.
Hello, my name is Noah Silver. And this is my song Takes Me Back. It is one of the singles off of my brand new debut EP, Kaleidoscope. 15 years old, but it's got less than 30,000 miles on it. Made in 2005, but it drives just like I remember way back when I was just a kid. Top down, right around town, sitting down in the same leather seat that he did. Been driving it every day, but I can't shake the way that it still smells like him. Yeah, the smell of him takes me back to his old little toothpick legs up into the backseat. Back to fighting with my brother over who would get to wear the cool sunglasses. Back to promising that grandma would never find out that he was driving us so fast. It takes me back. Speakers are a little low, but it's always loaded with 6 CDs. Blasting Abbey Road and slow handing all the other ones we used to say. And suddenly it takes me back to chopsticks, lessons and 7/8 sessions on his grand piano. Back to talk about records and why they sound so much better on vinyl. Back to learning that music ain't something to be kept to yourself. Stored up on the rack. Take me back. Oh. But I'm getting tired of driving this car alone, and I wish that I could go back to before I knew what the inside of a hospice looked like. Back to before I learned the meaning of words like metastasizing cells. And back to his old little toothpick legs up into the backseat. Back to fighting with my brother over who would get to wear the cool sunglasses. Back to my arms around his waist and a smile on his face. And back to never looking back. Take me back. Take me back.
That was good, man.
Really good, man.
Thank
I
you.
like
Really
that
good.
modulation in there.
Thank
Good
you.
day, Yeah.
Yeah,
Just, can I move this just a tad closer?
absolutely. You gotta have a good country modulation.
Yeah, I know. I don't use modulation a lot. I probably use it a couple times. I write more like indie rock and pop and stuff.
Oh, cool. My producer is primarily like indie rock stuff,
Okay.
interestingly enough, but he
Yeah.
kills it on country stuff too. His name's Tone Deaf. He did like, do you know Bristol Maroney?
Sounds familiar.
He did all of his EPs, but he used to work out of LA and did like, he made platinum records with like Green Day and
Tone Deaf is
Santana.
the producer.
Yeah, TONEDEF, which is ironic because his he has the like best ear I've ever met.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It's
like this.
insane.
Well, that's why he said. That's what
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm an ears, nose, throat doctor, so I know about all this.
It's really funny, honestly. He when we were in the studio, I remember I was recording all the acoustic guitar parts, and he stops me like maybe halfway through the chorus, and he's like, "You're out of tune." And I was like,
G string's a little sharp.
literally, he was like, "You're out of tune." And I was like, "Dude, no, I'm not. Like, what do you mean? It sounds normal to me." He's like, "No, your G string is sharp." Like, I think it was literally that. And I was
How did
like,
I guess that?
I was like, "What?" It's always the freaking G string.
G
But
strings always go out.
I took out my tuner, and it was sharp by maybe like 2 cents. It was crazy. And now my G string is flat.
Tonight.
Oh,
Yeah. I gotta get back.
You have one more after this.
Yeah. All right, there we go. And don't forget to introduce it. This is great.
Oh, you want me to tell the whole story?
No, no, not the whole story. But,
Okay, cool,
Because we
cool.
did that, but just like the name
Just
of
the
it.
song you heard last night?
Yeah, this is like.
That's
yeah.
what sucked you in?
Yeah.
Could you pass me that water really quick, actually? Thank you.
He co-wrote it with the
What's up, man?
Hall of Famer.
With who?
The Hall of Famer, Kyle. What's his name?
Kent Blasey.
Kent Blasey. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
He wrote, "If
Do you
Tomorrow
need
Never
your pick?
Comes." Yes, please. Thank you. That was gonna be an
You'll have
interesting.
to come to our
interview.
next retreat, man.
Dude, I would love to.
Yeah. We're gonna keep
Yeah,
doing it
Joel's-
in Nashville about 9 months.
Joel and his partner put all this on.
We have like 50 artists from all over the country. Amazing.
Yeah, he was telling me. It sounds
amazing
awesome.
Producers and songs. What's come out of here is crazy.
I bet. Yeah, what is this all organized through?
Through my
Just you.
company. I'm a doctor half the time, and I'm
Oh,
doing
cool.
music. I have a record label, and I'm a songwriter. Do sync.
Amazing.
This I'm partnered with a guy named Matt Tuck,
Okay.
and he does a lot of catalog acquisition, advertising for Spotify. You should check out
Yeah.
the company that does it. They're really advanced with that kind of shit.
No, I'll definitely check
I'll
that
get
out.
after you're done. I'll get you.
Yeah, please. All right. What is up? My name is Noah Silver. This is an unreleased song, especially for you. This is called "The Only Ones Who Know." I wrote this with Kent Blasey and Anna McElroy. Last thing this town expected was my brother in the news. Everybody's asking what led him to do what he thought he had to do. All he left behind was a bedside letter to his wife. Just like a ghost, he vanished in the night. What demons was he fighting to take his own life? Seemed happy as could be, it just don't add up right. They never found the body, though they searched the county wide. The sheriff says there's more than meets the eye. There's no evidence and little proof, he still thinks it's a crime. Whole town gather round at the hillside cemetery. They watched in disbelief to see an empty casket buried. Because I was his brother, I stood there by her side, and underneath her long black veil, I wish she would have cried. What demons was he fighting to take his own life? Seem happy as could be, it just don't add up right. They never found the body, though they searched the county wide. The sheriff says there's more than meets the eye. There's no evidence and little proof, he still thinks it's a crime. They compared his letter signature. Handwriting wasn't his. When they tested the paper, they only found her fingerprints. She was charged with murder in the first degree. The judge sentenced her to death, and she never took her eyes off of me. She'll take our secret to the grave. I visit her on death row. What happened on that night? The two of us are the only